he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High and abides in the shade of the Almighty says to the Lord, my refuge, my stronghold, my God, in whom I trust. Upon you no evil shall fall, no plague approach where you dwell. For you has he commanded his angels to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear you upon their hands, lest you strike your foot against a stone. On the lion and the viper you'll tread, and trample the young lion and the dragon. His love he set on me, so I will rescue him. Protect him, for he knows my name. When he calls, I shall answer, I am with you. I will save him in distress and give him glory.
Hello, Monsignor Daniel McHugh. My reflection for the first week of Lent. My God, in whom I trust. As I write this reflection for the first week of Lent, I recall 1 week ago when Russia declared war on Ukraine. It seems a lifetime ago, as so much has happened, and this event is not somewhere so far away that we don't feel involved. It is taking place in Europe, of which we are a part. There are many different dimensions to this conflict. One of the most moving is the impact the war is having on families. We see many mothers and children leaving home for safety in another country, and many fathers joining the resistance. At the same time, we see so many families going underground for safety from bombs and missile attacks. Because of vast media coverage, we know of the terrible decisions families are having to make, especially in having to separate, not knowing when they will get back together again. We are in admiration at the love people have for freedom and the type of future they want to safeguard for their children and society in general. They are ready to die rather than lose an open and democratic world where they see their children will flourish. They can't assume any more that their values, hopes and dreams will be there unless they sacrifice for that. They have to make a choice. That is where we are as a church at the beginning of Lent, which is time for stepping back and reviewing our priorities. What really matters to us and our families? Last week, on the 8th Sunday in Ordinary Time, we were led to reflect through a number of parables in the Gospel on the importance of continued learning, prayer and reflection and humility in our discipleship. You will remember the words of Jesus, "Why do you observe the splinter in your brother's eye and never notice the plank in your own?" A publication, Sunday Connection, suggests that families could gather, parents and children, to talk about how we might be tempted to focus on one another's shortcomings without noticing our own, and how this might lead to conflict. It continues, point out that part of being a good disciple is focusing on our own behavior. As a family, share ideas for responding as a disciple when you are upset with another family member's words or actions. For example, taking a cooling off break before talking to the other person, or praying for help to see if your actions contributed to the conflict and you need to apologize. Pray that you will grow together in discipleship, and then pray the Lord's Prayer. My mind went back to last Sunday's Gospel, Luke chapter 6, as I reflected on the reading from Luke chapter 4 for the first Sunday of Lent. One commentator, a priest working in the United States, speaks of Lent as taking time out, as happens in American football. They stop and talk tactics and come back refreshed, I believe. In the Gospel, we see Jesus taking time out. He spends time with his Father and examines his priorities. He came out of the desert and gave his life for us all, not for himself. I thought on Ash Wednesday he chose the cross and new life over the ashes of selfishness, as that symbolic act of receiving the blessed ash in the form of a cross signifies. Archbishop Shevchuk, leader of the Greek Catholic Church in Ukraine, speaking in Lviv, said, "At this tragic moment, the fate of the Ukrainian people depends on our ability to self-organize and act responsibly, taking responsibility for the future of the nation." The people of Ukraine teach us so much as we reflect on them leaving their belongings behind to travel to safety with their children. How much do we need as we gather more and more possessions? Lent is a time to take time out to reflect. We too are challenged to decide on our priorities as church and take responsibility for the future of our life of faith and handing it on to our children, the future generations. Elsewhere, Archbishop Shevchuk said, "We will conquer with the power of love for our homeland, for God and our neighbor." And he went on to say, "Let us pray for our enemies." We see that not hatred, but love conquers. Love gives birth to heroes, but hatred to criminals. One who hates the enemy is already overcome by him. It is my God in whom I trust that should be the focus of our reflection and prayer in Lent.
40 days and 40 nights you were fasting in the wild. 40 days